Welcome to the Divorce Survival Guide podcast, where we have open and honest conversations about co-parenting, separation, divorce, and the hardest question of all, should you stay or should you go? I'm Kate Anthony, your divorce survival guide, and I'm here to help you navigate some of the roughest waters you've ever swum in and answer some of your toughest questions. I've been to hell and back, and now it's my mission in life to help you get to the other side of this process with your sanity and your heart intact. Hey everyone, welcome back. So we are in 5 of 7 of our 7-step divorce mindset reset series. And today we're going to be talking about having a strategy mindset. And this is creating a shift in your mindset. And part of this shift is that you are now no longer trying to get this person that you're divorcing to see your point of view, to understand your perspective, to see you as human, right? Last week or a couple days ago, we talked about having radical acceptance, right? And so once you've had radical acceptance and you truly understand and accept who this person is, shifting into a strategy mindset is going to be a lot easier, right? Because if you're still fighting reality, if you're still trying to convince this person to not be a liar, to not be high conflict, right? If somebody who has shown you who they are and you continue to disbelieve the truth of what they've been showing you, you cannot shift into strategy. There's grieving to be done here. There is definitely grieving to be done when you are radically accepting and no longer, you're essentially like you're surrendering, right? You're surrendering to the reality of the situation. And that can be super painful. And I want you to actually embrace that pain and the grieving process of that so that you can then shift into this strategy mindset. And I talked a lot about that in the last episode on radical acceptance. So I want you to make sure, if you haven't listened to that episode, please go back and do so, because you cannot shift into a strategy mindset without first having radical acceptance. So I said these were not in any particular order, but I do think that these go hand in hand. So a strategy mindset is crucial, especially if you're in a high conflict divorce, because it's going to enable you to approach the process with clarity, foresight, and efficiency, not with emotion. As I've said over and over and over again, divorce involves complex legal, financial, and emotional considerations. But if you have a strategy mindset, you're going to be able to set clear goals and make informed decisions with more clarity and ease, because you're going to take control of this situation and the proceedings in a way that you probably haven't been able to do up until this point. I think I've talked a lot about, in this series, it always comes to my mind, is my Phoenix Rising group. What happens so often is that, we can't, I used this actually in our call yesterday, talking about how, we can't see the label from inside the jar. It's hard for us to have a clear perspective on our situation when we're in it. And so really, very often, it is very helpful to have a group of women going, oh, no. We can read the label, and here's what we see, and here's what we know about your situation. And just As an example, we had a woman in our group last week who was like, I don't know, my attorney wants to file this motion and it feels like really aggressive. It feels like a scary strategy for me to file this motion because, maybe he'll be reasonable and all of the things. Or maybe I'm going to push him over the edge by filing this motion that was fairly, I'm going to say assertive. I don't think it was aggressive. But it was assertive. And the entire group reflected back to her what they know about her situation, what they know about her ex, and what they know about where she's at in the process. And the chat and the video just lit up with, oh my God, file the motion. File the motion. Here's why. And it was all about this strategy that at this point, this man thinks that he can get over on you because he always has. And so he's going to keep stalling. I think the motion was about a motion to compel because he, had taken 6 months and hadn't filed any of his financial disclosures. And so now we have to file a motion to compel him to do so. And she was like, I don't know, maybe he's going to do it. I mean, if I could, and everyone was like, nope, file the motion. She had to shift into a strategy mindset to recognize that filing this motion was part of the legal game of chess. And his next move, I shit you not, was to come back and say, oh, no, I'll totally do it. I'll do it by the end of the week. Just call off the motion. Call off the motion. If you revoke the motion, then I will file the disclosures and I'll do these other things that you want. And it became very clear, very, very clear that filing the motion was 100% the right thing to do. Revoking the motion was 100% the wrong thing to do. And she suddenly saw very clearly what the women had seen for her before. This is why we do this work in a group, because it is so powerful to have other women seeing what you just can't see clearly. Because again, they're outside the jar reading the label far more clearly than you can when you're in it. But the strategy, right? You have to divorce yourself of the emotional ties and manipulations so that you can be strategic. Because this is now a game of chess. And emotions have no place in a game of chess. That might be a terrible analogy because I don't play chess, but I'm pretty sure it's not about that. It's about knowing your opponent and what move they're going to make next, and also 5 moves ahead, right? If you're really good at it, from what I understand. My son is really good at chess. It's very confusing to me. Right? It's a game of strategy. It's a game of, if I make this move, they're probably going to make that move. And if they make that move, then it means that I can make this, and then they will likely do that. Nobody knows your soon-to-be ex as well as you do. You know their next move. You absolutely do. Sure, do they sometimes shock you? Yes. Do they sometimes surprise you? Yeah. But for the most part, you know their moves. This is why when we have the divorce conversation, I ask women to write out, how do you think he will respond? What do you think he'll say? So that we can craft the conversation like the chess move 5 steps ahead. Oh, he's going to say, you're not going to get any money and you're never going to see your children again, right? So that I know to research that and find out if that is true so that I can blow off those assertions because they're completely untrue and just say, I'm sorry, that's not how divorce works. So anyway, moving on to the next point in this conversation. And that's how you become strategic, is by shifting the emotions out of it and putting on your best chess player hat, figuring out in advance what moves they're going to make next. And it's so hard when they make really annoying and obnoxious moves to not respond with emotion, because you've been emotionally intertwined with this person for however long you've been together. And it's really hard to just not have emotions with this person. But at this point, right, I'm not saying you have to be a cold-hearted bitch. I'm just saying that you've got to be strategic. You've got to take control of what's happening and move it forward with clear purpose. And I see this a lot with my clients who are, especially those who are still living in the same house with someone who has abused them. They have so much emotional turmoil and trauma, legit trauma, being triggered and re-triggered and re-triggered and re-triggered on a daily basis. So they actually can't think strategically. Because again, that part of their brain is not functioning when they're in a trauma response. And moreover, their exes know it. This is part of why they keep doing what they're doing. They will keep triggering you on purpose to keep you destabilized, to keep you under their control, and to keep you from being strategic. Physical separation, especially for people who are in high conflict and abusive situations. I mean, it's insanity to have these emails going back and forth and attorneys doing dirty work, and then to have to like coexist in the same house. Like, it's absolute insanity. And yet so many people have to do it because they don't have a choice, or they want to stay in the home right now because they're mostly women, mostly the primary caretakers of the children, want to keep their children in the home, keep their lives somewhat consistent, but then their spouses are refusing to leave. I actually have a blog post that will be going out to my email list and hitting my website soon, all about this topic and how to get your spouse to vacate a home when you need to stay in it for your children. Part of the problem with this is that refusing to leave the marital home is a power and control move, right? So an abusive spouse who's lost power and control, when you tell them that you no longer want to be married to them, they're going to use everything at their disposal to continue to find ways to dominate you. And not leaving the marital home is a really top power move, forcing you to interact with them day in and day out. And by the way, these people very often will act like father of the year all of a sudden. They will act like husband of the year all of a sudden. And then they're going to have their attorneys send you scathing emails or multiple emails making you, trying to get you to do this, that, or the other thing, whatever it is, right? And so they're using their attorneys to abuse you by proxy, right? So they're engaging in post-separation legal abuse while you're in the house with them, and while they're masquerading as just, oh gosh, it's going through such a hard time. It's really difficult for everybody, but we're muddling through. We're trying. She's a little off the rails. She gets really emotional. I just don't know how to handle it. It's just really difficult. Yeah. Why is she so emotional? Why is she acting crazy? Because you're driving her crazy. This happens all the time. And again, your best way to counter this is to be strategic. One of the things I recommend to my clients is that their attorneys don't send them every email from their spouse's and their soon-to-be ex's attorney, because often, your attorney may not realize how undermining or combative or triggering the emails are. You can ask your attorney, hey, can you not forward me every single email. Maybe we have a conference once a week in which we talk through some specific points, or you can send me an email at the end of the week with some bullet points. But the tone of these emails is so aggressive and it's really triggering. And I'm having a really hard time staying strategic and staying in my right mind and in my sort of higher mind when I get these emails every day. And a good attorney will understand that and be able to do that for you. So, strategy. Again, a strategy mindset is going to empower you to set really clear goals, to make informed decisions, to navigate these challenges, right? Like I said, like approach obstacles with a calm and calculated plan. It will empower you to maintain control and stay proactive and move forward with confidence. It's funny, as I'm talking, I'm thinking like, okay, well, that's great, Kate, but how do you do that? How do you maintain a strategy mindset? Well, again, I'm going to go back to radical acceptance. And I'm going to go back to self-care and making sure that you are putting yourself in a position where you are as far removed from abuse and trauma as possible, because the part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive function and strategy and decision-making, all of those things, goes offline when you're in a trauma response. Those are the mechanics of the brain. So your best bet is to keep yourself as far removed from trauma and abuse as possible. And I know that that's not always easy. And do not respond. Do not write emails. Do not communicate in any way, shape, or form while you are in a trauma response. One of the things that I do for my clients is I write their emails for them. I mean, not every single one and not always, but when they're trying to figure out like, I need this thing and I can't figure out how to say it, and here's what I want to say, then I will take all the emotional out of it. I will take all of the chaos out of it and organize it. I become my client's executive function. And that's what you really need in this time. This is why the team approach is so important. This is why having a divorce coach can be so important. Your attorney is not going to do that shit for you. This is what a really good divorce coach will do for you. Will keep you focused and in a strategy mindset so that you can not get completely overwhelmed and sabotaged by whatever else is coming at you from the other side. Okay. Next up, we're going to talk about knowing what's legal versus what's fair. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Divorce Survival Guide podcast. If you like what you hear, head on over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in and leave me a review. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at the Divorce Survival Guide. I'll see you next time, and until then, remember, you, my love, deserve to be happy.